Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Tasmin Mahabhagavato Dvaipayana Suhritsaka Lokananucharan Siddha Asasada Yadrichaya Tasmin Mahabhagavato Dvaipayana Suhritsaka Lokananucharan Siddha Asasada Yadrichaya Tasmin Mahabhagavato Dvaipayana Suhritsakha Lokananucharan Siddha Asasada Yadrichaya Mahabhagavato Dvaipayana Suhritsakha Lokananucharan Siddha Asasada Yadrichaya Tasmin Mahabhagavato Dvaipayana Suhritsakha Lokananucharan Siddha Asasada Yadrichaya. Someone else? Tasmin Mahabhagavato Dvaipayana Suhritsakha Lokananucharan Siddha Asasada Yadrichaya Tasmin Mahabhagavato Dvaipayana Suhritsakha Asasada Yadrichaya Tasmin Mahabhagavato Dvaipayana Suhritsakha Lokan Anucharan Siddha Asasada Yadrichaya Tasmin then Mahabhagavata, a great devotee of the Lord, Dvaipayana, O Krishna Dvaipayana Vyas, Suhrit, a well-wisher, Sakha, a friend, Lokan, the three worlds, Anucharan, traveling, Siddhe, in that ashram, Asasada, arrived, Yadrichaya, by his own perfect accord. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada, Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. At that time, after traveling in many parts of the world, Maitreya, a great devotee of the Lord and a friend and well-wisher of the great sage Krishna Dvaipayana Vyas, reached that spot out of his own perfect accord. Please repeat. At that time, after traveling in many parts of the world, Maitreya, a great devotee of the Lord and a friend and well-wisher of the great sage Krishna Dwapayana Vyas, reached that spot out of his own perfect accord. Purport. Maitreya was one of the disciples of Maharishi Parashara, the father of Vyasadeva. Thus Vyasadeva and Maitreya were friends and mutual well-wishers. By some fortunate accident, Maitreya reached the place where Lord Sri Krishna was resting. To meet the Lord is not an ordinary incident. Maitreya was a great sage and a learned scholar, philosopher, but not a pure devotee of the Lord. And therefore his meeting with the Lord at that time may have been due to agyata sukriti, or some unknown devotional service. Pure devotees always engage in pure devotional activities, and therefore their meeting with the Lord is natural. But when those who are not up to that standard meet the Lord, it is due to the unforeseen fortune of accidental devotional service. Om Ajnana Timidandasya Anjana Shalakaya Chakshur Unmilitam Jena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prasthaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swamin Iti Namine. Got this great fortune of having this New Govardhana spring water delivered. What's that? Oh, that's okay. That's all right. So, Maitreya Muni here is described as a Mahabhagavata, but still not a spotlessly pure devotee. So, we might think this is a little difficult to understand. How is this that in the verse of the Bhagavatam, Maitreya is being described as a Mahabhagavata, a great devotee. But in the purport, Srila Prabhupada, who is, as we know, was writing all these purports with all the commentaries of the Vaishnavacharyas, Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur, and Sridhar Swami, and different commentators, the great Vaishnavacharyas, are commenting on these verses. And Srila Prabhupada would travel with the large Sanskrit volume that had all the commentaries on these verses. So we can see that Prabhupada has distilled these commentaries of the Vaishnavacharyas into his purports. And in the purport, Prabhupada is explaining that although Maitreya is described as a Mahabhagavata, a great devotee of the Lord, but still he's not a spotlessly pure devotee. And he's explaining to us that if someone who's not a completely pure devotee, and of course he's being contrasted with Uddhava, who was a completely pure devotee of the Lord. And the difference is that the pure devotees have no tinge of the monistic conception. What is the monistic conception? Monistic. Mono means one, right? Still, this is coming from Sanskrit through the Latin. We have the monocycle, the monocle. So monistic means one. So this spiritual idea is that there is just one type of Brahman. There's one type of spirit, and that's all. That's all there is. There's not two kinds of spirit. But the Vaishnavacharyas, they say that is an imperfect explanation. And actually the Bhagavatam itself gives this verse. Many of you might know it. Vedanti tattva vidas Tattvam yaj gyayam advayam brahmeti praramatmeti bhagavaniti shabdyate. That the absolute truth is described in three features. It is a mon, it is one. There is that element of Brahman, that the absolute truth is beyond the varieties of this material world. So there's so many material varieties due to the modes of nature. There's different colors and different flavors, different tastes, different forms, different sounds, all different varieties. And spiritual reality is beyond that. Yes, that is the first stage of spiritual reality. But beyond that, there's the Paramatma feature, where the spirit, there's actually a supreme spirit that lives in the heart of everyone. Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita very clearly, Ishvara Sarvabhutanam Hriddeshe Arjuna Tishtati. Hrid means heart, Deshe, in that region, Arjuna Tishtati, he sits, he resides, the Supreme Lord. Ishvara Sarvabhutanam, of all living entities. So Krishna's Bhagavad Gita is very, very clear on this point, if we hear the direct translation as it is. Krishna again and again is stating this. And then beyond even this idea that the Lord, the Supreme Spirit, is living in the heart of everyone, then there's the final level, Bhagavan realization, that the Supreme Lord has his own existence. He has his own existence separate from this material world. So it's not just that this material world has different varieties, and then the ultimate freedom is to get beyond variety and to merge into a unified spirit that's beyond all variety. But the ultimate perfection is to actually attain the stage of spiritual variety, Bhagavan. So the Supreme Spirit, Bhagavan, he has his own place, he has his own destination, he has his own activities. And this is what the Vaishnavas are focusing on. And of course, if somebody is in love with someone, and then somebody else is saying, oh, that person doesn't exist, it's just kind of an imagination or something like that, how much that person is very much feels very feels very sad, feels very upset at this kind of presentation. So the Vaishnavas who are in love with Krishna eternally, in a spiritual love that's beyond, and the Bhagavatam goes to great lengths to explain this. The Atmarama verse, and of course when Lord Chaitanya came, he explained the Atmarama verse in 64 different ways, because it's such a key point, and he explained it to is it Prakashananda Saraswati or Sabbam Bhattacharya Prakashananda? He explained this. And because Prakashananda Saraswati was attached to the impersonal conception, and in the impersonal conception, the idea is that if there's interaction, if there's relationship, if there's emotion, if there's activity, then that's a material thing, because spirit is beyond all of that. But actually this Atmarama verse, it's in the Srimad Bhagavatam itself, Atmarama Chamuniya Nirgranta Api Urukrame, that even the Atmaramas, or people who are completely free from any attraction to material things, even those people, the ones who are completely liberated, even those people are attracted to the pastimes of the Lord, right? We hear the Sukadeva Goswami, the four Kumaras, confirmed. So even those people are attracted to the pastimes of the Lord, because these pastimes of the Lord and this existence of the Lord beyond the modes of material nature is an existence of spiritual variety, and this idea that all variety is just a material thing, that just closes the door to bhakti. It just stops the progress of the soul to the level of Bhagavan. So here is described that Maitreya Muni, he to some degree had this, although he's described as Mahabhagavat, a great devotee of the Lord, but still there was some tinge of this impersonal idea. And it's mixed with that. And there's two main mixtures. We hear that bhakti itself is pure, but it can be mixed with either a desire to enjoy and interact with the modes of material nature, or it can be mixed with a desire to get free from the material nature. So it can either be mixed with a desire to experience more, or then to be free from it. And either of these things are not pure devotion. So this is the desire to be free from interaction, just separate from service to Krishna. This is the monistic conception. Right? We hear in the Bhagavatam that was it Prahlad Maharaj that was asked, to a benediction of the Lord, and he said, I don't care. I can come back and bring into lifetimes, whatever, but just give me your service. So the devotees, what is it? Narayana parasave na kutaschana bibhyati. The devotees don't mind to be in the material world. If Krishna wants that, they'll be in the material world. Because the devotees are not in the material world. They're with Krishna. They're actually transcendental. But this idea of getting free from the modes of material nature, Bhaktivinoda Thakur actually says that you can understand by its very nature that this idea of liberation is a material concept because it's within the realm of material time. It's within the realm of material time by saying in some period of material time you were conditioned, and then at some point of material time you were liberated. That point of liberation, that's a material thing because it's in the confines of material time. Whereas true spiritual liberation, the bhakti, it's independent of material time. One can be in a hellish situation, na kutaschana bibhyati. One can be in the heavens, one can be on the earthly planets. It doesn't matter. One can be engaged in the service and it's not affected. Brahma bhuta prasana mana kankshadina sochati samasa vaisha bhuteshu mad bhaktim labate param. One can actually be situated, above the modes, either way. So we can read in this verse, and tomorrow, if you come for class tomorrow, it's going to be Monday because tomorrow's Chaitanya Charitamrita. But on Monday, you'll read the next verse, and the thing is, in the next verse, actually described. I won't give too much away, but just to say that it's actually described that when they were sitting there, Maitreya and Uddhava, in front of the Lord, then the Lord, and Maitreya was it describes he was leaning, he was very keen, he was very excited to see the Lord. But Uddhava just gives that little hint when he's describing this and says, but actually the Lord was especially looking at me, he says. The Lord was especially looking at him because he had pure devotion. He had pure devotion for the Lord. So tomorrow there'll be more discussion on that Monday next class. But this is the point what I'd like to bring out today, is that Bhakti Yoga is about spiritual affection. It's a personal relationship. Of course, we hear that. This is the yoga of devotion, the supreme personality of Godhead. We can see Prabhupada could have called his, society, international society for God consciousness to appeal to people's idea of God, but he was very clear, no, Krishna consciousness. And this supreme personality of Godhead, and I'm not sure maybe whether it's Prabhupada or Bhaktisiddhanta has actually coined this term, but either way, this is rather than just saying God, it's like the supreme personality of Godhead. So it's stressed on us because the impersonal view, especially with Hinduism, when people think of Hinduism, they more or less think of the impersonal view as the default view. But actually the personal view is the basis. So here, if Bhakti Yoga is personal and it's about a personal service, that means that it has to be conscious, right? And Rupa Goswami explains this in Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu. Anyablasata shunyam gana karmadi anabritam anukulyena Krishna anu shilanam bhakti uttama. Uttama Bhakti, or unalloyed devotion unto the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Sri Krishna, involves the rendering of devotional service in a way that is favorable to the Lord. Right? This devotional service should be free from any extraneous motive, devoid of the idea of fruitive karma, just like we said, to try to enjoy the world, or impersonal jnana, to try to get free from the world, and any other selfish kind of desire about one's own mind, a body, or false ego, right? So the important aspect in terms of the consciousness is this, right? Anushilan. This is shilana, means it's a favorable activity. And the idea is always given of, the example is often given of Kamsa, where Kamsa was very Krishna conscious, right? He was thinking of Krishna all the time. Who's this Krishna? I'm going to get him. I'm going to kill him. He was always thinking of Krishna, but it wasn't favorable. It was unfavorable. So this seems almost like an unsurpassable or a insurmountable obstacle for the conditioned soul, right? On the one hand, bhakti is defined as a personal relationship of favorably offering oneself to the Supreme Lord. And at the other hand, the conditioned souls are nitya-baddha, they're eternally bound up, right? They're continually thinking about how to interact with the modes of nature, build up their own false ego or on their senses, create things and build up dynasties and things. So it seems to be an insurmountable thing. How do you go from that to pure devotion? And this is what is really being described here very nicely today. And this is the term. What's the term that's being described in? What's the term that Prabhupada uses in the purport of how this gap is bridged? How is this gap bridged between consciously doing pure devotional service and just consciously being within the modes of material nature? What has Prabhupada said? What's the word he uses in the purport? Shall I read the purport again? Maitreya was one of the disciples of Maharshi Parashara, the father of Vyasadeva. Thus Vyasadeva and Maitreya were friends and mutual well-wishers. By some fortunate accident, Maitreya reached the place where Lord Sri Krishna was resting. To meet the Lord is not an ordinary incident. Maitreya was a great sage and a learned scholar philosopher, but not a pure devotee of the Lord. And therefore, his meeting with the Lord at that time may have been due to agyata sukriti, or some unknown devotional service. Pure devotees always engage in pure devotional activities, and therefore their meeting with the Lord is natural. But when those who are not up to that standard meet the Lord, it is due to the unforeseen fortune of accidental devotional service. So what's the bridge that takes us from conditioned life to pure devotional service to Krishna? Agyata Sukriti. And what does that mean? Just technically, just literally. Agyata, what does gya mean? Knowledge, right? So what does agya mean? Not knowledge. Right? Unknown. Yeah, exactly. Unknown. So unknown, agyata, and then sukriti. Su means what? Good. And kriti means action, to do something, right? It's the Sanskrit root of karma, krita, all this stuff, krita, to do. So agyata sukriti, unknown good activities, right? And in the sense of su means actually spiritual activities, as Prabhupada says here. So this agyata sukriti, right, is the bridge. It's the bridge for the souls. And we'll give a few examples here of agyata sukriti, right, in the Shastras. Let's have a look at a few examples. Or can anyone think of an example before we give those? What's an example in the Bhagavatam of a Gyata Sukriti? Anyone think of an example? Narada Muni. What was the example of Narada Muni? How did he do a Gyata Sukriti? Yeah, I know, but tell me, yeah. Okay, I'll tell. You're talking about how Narada took the prasadam, right? So it's a very good example. Thank you, because I didn't have that one down. But that's a very good example. So Narada Muni, who was he the son of? Was he the son of a great sage, a great king? Huh? He's the son of a maidservant, the cleaner, right? But who came and stayed? Because it's rainy season in India, you can't travel for 4 months. So who stayed there? The Bhakti Vedantas, the great sages. And he took their remnants. Now, I want to sort of go into this with each of these examples to see where is the link, where's the bhakti link, and where's the broken link, or where's the unknown. So, and it's all about affection, right? It's spiritual affection. So what was important with Narada Muni when he took the remnants of those great sages? What was the important part about that for him? The important part was that he asked them, he got their permission, and he himself was attracted to that. He was attracted to their association. He said, I became attracted to them. I became attracted to hearing about them. I asked, and they gave me the remnants of their food. He had a natural attraction. Now, in the beginning stage, he didn't know, these are great devotees. He didn't know all these things, but he had that attraction. You see where I'm going with this? We'll look at this with all these examples. So he had that flow of affection was there for those people. And the break was that he didn't know they were great devotees. He didn't know everything that they knew. He didn't know, but he was just attracted to them. So by that he became elevated, became a great devotee in his next life, just like that. Now, what about the example of Ajamil? Prabhupada says that Ajamil is another example of Agyata Sukriti, right? So Ajamil, what was the name of his son? Narayan, right? And he was very attached to his son. So he was very attached to the name of Narayan. He was always saying, Narayan, Narayan, come here, Narayan. So he had affection. He had attachment for that name of Narayan. But what was the break between that and pure devotional service? The break was he wasn't thinking about that's the name of the Lord, right? But the affection was there, right? He had attraction for that. But the break was he didn't know. So it's Agyata Sukriti, right? But still he's attracted to that. King Satyavrata, right? Who did King Satyavrata serve? What form of the Lord? Matsya, yes. So Matsya was just a little fish, and this great king became so attracted to this little fish. Wow, he's so beautiful. He's growing. Wow, he needs this. I need to get him a bigger tank. I need to do all these things. So out of affection, he was serving this animal. But he could understand, wow, it's so beautiful. Let me serve it, right? So his affection was in that. He had some of this shilanam, this favorable attitude. He had it, but what was the break? Huh? But what was the break? Why was it Agyata? What was unknown though? He didn't know the fish was God, right? Right? That was the unknown bit. He didn't know. He didn't know, this is an incarnation of the Lord, right? But the attraction was there. What about Prakashananda Saraswati? It's another example Prabhupada gives of Agyata Sukriti. I'd just like to put in a small word to my sponsors, the database. We can type in Agyata Sukriti and get all these amazing things. I don't know what devotees did in the 80s when they're preparing for class. We're so fortunate with the technology we have now to access this knowledge. We can have a thought, what about this, what about that? We can just go to the database, see, what did Prabhupada say? What did the Acharyas say about this? It's such a fortune we have. We should really take advantage of this, So Prakashananda Saraswati, he was very attracted to the Lord. to Lord Chaitanya. He was very attracted. He's so beautiful, he's so effulgent. He took him and placed him in the middle of the assembly, right? He took him from where he was sitting at the where the foot bathing goes, and he placed him there. He was very attracted. He had affection for him. But what was the break in his case? He was a Mayavadi, so he's not going to think of that this is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. He's thinking, oh, he's Brahman, something like that. So that's the agya, that's the break, right? I'm just going to read something that Prabhupada said, and this is relating to children. You'll see, you'll hear. Prabhupada, yes, this bow down, even the children, they are imitating bowing down, but it has got the effect. Not that the children, they have no seriousness about it. So seriousness or no seriousness, simply if he bows down, he gets the result. He gets the result. He's dancing, he's getting the result. He's becoming a devotee. This is called agyata sukriti. These are the statements of Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhi Nectar Devotion. You find the temple is meant for giving chances to the non-devotees. Some way or other, if he comes in the temple, bows down, dances with us, takes the prasadam, takes Charanamrita, that means he's becoming spiritually advanced. I'll just read those last two sentences again. The temple is meant for giving chances to the non-devotees, some way or other. If he comes in the temple, bows down, dances with us, takes the prasadam, takes Charanamrita, that means he's becoming spiritually advanced. The children, they're also chanting Hare Krishna, they're offering obeisances, they're offering a lamp, they're playing some instrument. All these things will never go in vain. It is being accounted, that is called agyata sukriti. By doing this repeatedly, one day becomes a great devotee. It doesn't require studying all the Vedic literatures. Simply one is accustomed to this practice of devotional service and hears the vibration, Hare Krishna mantra, simply by hearing. It is said, Shudva upasate, anyabhya upasate. These are upasana. You know or don't know, when you offer obeisances to the Supreme Personality of Godhead, is immediately taken to your credit. Oh, this living entity has now offered some respect. Once devotees were asking, how is it possible, Srila Prabhupada, how is it possible that we come from such a fallen background with no background in the Vedic culture? Then how is it possible that we can become your disciples and practice this bhakti yoga in the line of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu? And Prabhupada said, I have created your good fortune. Right? So this is what Srila Prabhupada did. And from the very beginning, those devotees, of course, they didn't understand. They didn't understand Krishna as a supreme person. He has an eternal form. He's separate from Maya. All of these different philosophical understandings. But they knew that this Swami, this person, has something incredible, has something amazing, and I want to serve him. I want to help him. And then by doing those activities, then gradually that agyata becomes knowing devotional service, becomes gyata. Prabhupada says, I'll just read one more thing Prabhupada says. So this sukriti, this fortune, there is a chance which is called agyata sukriti. Agyata sukriti means, just like Krishna's representative is preaching all over the world, and if somebody comes in contact with that representative of Krishna and satisfies him, he acquires some agyata sukriti. This is called agyata sukriti. He does not know what spiritual benefit he's achieving by serving the representative of Krishna. So when a person is in conditional life, and we're all still in conditional life to some degree, we're not liberated, we can't even understand the great fortune. We can't even understand the level of the blessings that we're getting. We can't even conceive of life beyond the struggles of the material body and mind. What to speak of, conceive of the incredible spiritual bliss that the residents of the spiritual world are experiencing, what they talk about, what the acharyas describe. We're not able to conceive of that, even imagine that. We can't even imagine that, right? So how can we be doing pure devotional service to Radha Krishna in Braja? We can't. We're conditioned. So that conditioning stops us from doing that direct service. So Prabhupada's saying, therefore, the pure devotee comes, the acharya comes, and he gives the people the ability. By helping him, they get that. Prabhupada says, he does not know what spiritual benefit he's achieving by serving the representative of Krishna. He does not know, even we don't know what it is, but by serving the representative of Krishna, Prabhupada says, he does not know, but he acquires it imperceptibly. This is called agyata sukriti. So when a agyata sukriti is accumulated, then he becomes fortunate. That is called Kona Bhagavan Jeev, right? It's a very famous verse we know from Chaitanya Charitamrita. Brahmanda Brahmite Kona Bhagavan Jiva. Guru Krishna Prasade Bhai Bhakti Lata Bij, right? He gets the seed, the bij, Bhakti Lata Bij, a seed devotion, he gets from the Guru Krishna Prasad, the mercy of Krishna, the mercy of Guru. So this is the mercy of the devotee, of the pure devotees. This is their mercy, that they're engaging us. And by that, then we become fortunate. We become fortunate. By assisting them, we get, even if we don't understand, right? What can we understand? Our spiritual master says, distribute these books of transcendental knowledge, right? And we try, we go and we give the book, right? But what can we understand? Oh, this book will go and sit in this person's cupboard for 2 years, and then someone else will come and move in that house, and then they will leaf through it and leave it on the table, and then their daughter will come and read that, and then she'll become an incredible devotee. But we can't understand how it's working. We don't know. We can't say. We can't understand how we are benefiting. We're just trying to sell the book. We're just trying to do what our spiritual master has told us, has instructed us. You'll become advanced by assisting me, by assisting in this, right? But we do it, we become purified, right? And we keep doing it, and then gradually becomes, little light comes in the head, in the heart. Wow, this is amazing. This is actually bhakti. This is actually happening. Little bit by little bit, Krishna gives that, awakens, opens that door by the mercy of the Guru and Krishna. And that agyata sukriti becomes gyata, becomes pure devotional service, anushilanam. But it can't be imitated. Can't imitate it in the beginning. No, we have to assist by assisting the people that have bhakti, the pure devotees. Even as agyata, even we don't know, but we assist. And Prabhupada says, acquires it imperceptibly. Acquires it imperceptibly. Right? No. So this is important for us to understand what is the difference, and for us as practicing devotees, or for practicing devotees who are here today or listening to this, that's important to understand how I can move from being agyata sukriti, because agyata sukriti doesn't get us back to Godhead. It doesn't get us back. It has to mature into conscious anushilanam, conscious feeling. We can't imitate that in the beginning. In the beginning, we assist, and then gradually that will awaken in our hearts, right? And for our practice of helping others, we can meditate on this, that just somehow or another, right? Somehow or another, let people experience, let people assist, somehow be engaged in the Sankirtan movement, right? We have the books, we give out Prabhupada's books. We have prasadam, secret weapon, Prabhupada said, especially in Australia, but all over the world, but especially Australia. People come take prasadam. I just share one story that happened. day before yesterday, and we're distributing prasadam, and a lady comes and says, how I can't believe this. A vegetarian says, all I ever eat is, and she named one particular type of non-veg thing that she ate. Is all I ever ate. But when I came and ate your potato bake, I can't, I'm always thinking about it. I have to come back and eat more. So she got that attraction. She has attraction. She doesn't know that potato bake is the remnants of Krishna. She just knows she likes it. She's attracted to it. So I said, well, actually we have this little book. This book, it's called The Higher Taste. It can teach you how to make that potato bake yourself. Yeah, here it is. She said, wow, really? How much? I said, $4, take it. No problem. Oh, give me that book immediately. So then I got another one. I didn't take it back because I've had that experience before in book distribution where you give the person the book and they ask something about it, you want to explain, so you take the book back and it feels terrible that you're taking the book back, and then it's like, I have to give it back to them. Book distributors, there's all these things that go on. So I kept the book, and when he got another book, I looked up the Garanga potatoes, page 132, so I gave her a pen. Here you go, write this. So she write it down, the page she is. So she take the book home. And little does she know, the whole first quarter of that book, like literally a quarter of The Higher Taste, is all about karma, about how we have to not do violence to other living entities, to be able to awaken our dormant love for Krishna, for the Supreme Lord. It's written in a very beautiful way. I'm only assuming Mukunda Maharaj had a big part in that. Am I right? So, still to this day, it's an incredible thing that you can bridge that gap. You can bridge that gap between someone who's completely uninterested in Krishna consciousness, give them something they're attracted to, whether it's prasadam or the Harinam, right? So we're going to Harinam in Burley. I don't know if you were there that time. We're with Garuda and all the Harinam. I think you were there, Sham, right? And they had a what you call the surf carnival, right? Surf carnival. And they were young kids, like young, 10, 12, And so they all just spontaneously just ran. Were you there? They just spontaneously ran and joined the kirtan. And suddenly, when this kirtan with like 50 kids going, Hare Krishna, and they dancing and chanting in ecstasy, it's like, wow. But they're not thinking, oh, this is the Supreme Personality of Godhead from the Srimad Bhagavatam. And they're not thinking all this stuff. They're just dancing and joining in the kirtan. But the benefit they get, right? Agyata Sukriti, Bhakti Sukriti, they're getting from that. So for ourselves, we should see how we can come from that Agyata platform and really value when we do have some genuine spontaneous attraction, to actually, even if it's just like, oh, Mangaladi, 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 and it's like, oh, Mangaladi, wow. It's that, Prabhupada says, it's that simple, spontaneous devotional service. It's just going from, this is what the rules are and I should do, to, wow, I really like to do that. Wow. That's it. But we should capture them and keep them in our heart. And also for helping others, we can be meditating on this of just how to give people a chance to somehow engage, right? Somehow engage and get that sukriti. And I'll finish with this is, all explained in Bhagavad Gita as well. And Krishna says one very nice verse there. He says that you should not disturb the minds of the unintelligent who are engaged and attached to fruitive activities, but you should engage them in acts of devotion so that they can gradually uplift their consciousness, right? Yeah. Okay, I'll stop there. Thank you very much. And if there's any question or any comments, we can talk about that. We have about 10 minutes. I can't guarantee you I have the answer.
Thank you for the class. You were mentioning about the Gyata Sukriti and that we can't go back to Godhead just based on that. And then we also hear about the obstacles on the path of bhakti. So I was just thinking when you were asking the question about Gyata Sukriti, about Vivekananda Pandit, that he, when his disciples, they throughout Srivas Thakur, and then Lord Chaitanya, did his distance. But when he was protecting Rakeshwar Pandit, then Lord Chaitanya noticed him. So I was just thinking how merciful the Lord is that he's glancing over him. So even after that, I'm not sure what exactly, but I do know that when we commit offenses to devotees, we should approach them. I don't know anything after that with Srivas Pandit, but just that how merciful Lord Chaitanya is that he noticed him. So he's already opening up the door for him, reopening the door. I don't know more about that.
Yeah, I mean, thank you. That's such a great example because um, that's pretty much exactly the point. Is that Prabhupada says, love me, love my dog. Like somebody's walking, and Prabhupada says, you give the dog a 2 cent lozenge. Prabhupada says, you give him a little sweet or something. Then the man, he might be the prime minister of the country or something. So, naturally his affection goes. Oh, he loves my dog, like that. And so that in that case, Devananda Pandit, he definitely, he made an offense, or at least he sat by while his disciples made an offense and didn't say anything. But when he served Vakreshwar Pandit, then by the mercy of Vakreshwar Pandit, then because the Lord loved Vakreshwar Pandit so much that anybody that was serving him then it changed the heart of Lord Chaitanya. It's also described with Maharaj Prataparudra that Lord Chaitanya was just absolutely not open to seeing him at all. And the devotees kept sort of talking, and he said, okay, that's fine, I've heard enough. Then you will meet him, you'll be happy here, and I'll go and stay in Lalanath. So the devotees have covered their ears, and wow, they never mentioned that again. But actually, it's described that because when Ramananda Roy came, and he described how much Prataparudra was so affectionate towards Lord Chaitanya that as soon as Ramananda Roy said, I want to go and serve Lord Chaitanya, even though Ramananda Roy was a very essential part of the politics of the management of the whole state, a huge area. But Maharaj Prataparudra actually gave him time off and said, I completely release you. Not only that, I double your salary if you're going to serve Lord Chaitanya. And when Lord Chaitanya heard that, then his heart softened again. So yeah, thank you, because that's really the essence of it. And I'm trying to sort of bring that out in the class, that Bhakti Yoga is about affection. It's about getting the Lord's affection. And when we serve somebody or assist somebody that's very dear to the Lord, then we become an object of the Lord's mercy. I don't know. Was there a specific thing? That was just some thoughts, but I wasn't sure exactly.
You brought that point that we softens the heart of the Lord, but I wasn't sure about how, I don't know if there's any further details about whether Devananda Pandit approached Srivas and things like that.
Yeah.
The door opened again for him. How did it all happen? Because for us, I'm just thinking that we do something, we do need to go through that process of approaching that.
Yeah, we can research more. Does anyone know details of that? But I've heard that Lord Chaitanya basically said to him, "You have to go." Oh, actually, yeah, that is in Chaitanya Charitamrita, I think, or Chaitanya Bhagavatam. That he literally said to Devananda, after he took sannyas and he came back to Nadia for some time, basically traveling through. I think he was on his way to Vrindavan. Then he met Devananda, and Devananda came, as well as his Gopal Chakravarti, who had offended Haridas Thakur, and other people who had made offenses to him when he was just a student. came and asked for his forgiveness, and he said, actually, I can't give forgiveness. You have to go and approach Srivas Thakur. So he did say that. But how or what that happened, but yeah, that's the general. I mean, we can understand there must have been something in that regard, even if it wasn't talked about, because that's the general principle. Same with Maharaj Ambarish and Durasa Muni. He went to Lord Vishnu, all the way to Lord Vishnu, and Durasa said, "I can't." Lord Vishnu said, "I can't change because I can't change my heart because I gave my heart to my devotee. So if you want to change my heart, you have to go and see my devotee because I've given it to him." So in the same way, definitely we have to approach a devotee if we've offended them because it is a personal thing. And in the same way that by serving a devotee who's dear to the Lord, we attain um, the favor of the Lord, in the same way the process can be reversed, right? As Krishna says, "Ye tamam prapadyante tam sate vajamiham mama vat manuvatante manusya parta savasha." Right? Mama vatma anuvatante. Everyone follows my path in all respects. Right? So some people are following the path towards Krishna, and some people everyone's following the same path, and some people are going back the other way. So the same thing applies, that if we offend somebody who's very dear to the Lord, and then we can actually go back away from Krishna consciousness. So yeah, this is very, very important. And there's no other way, because it is a personal exchange of affection between the Supreme Lord and his parts and parcels. Yeah, but I don't have any exact, you know. Yeah, yeah, yeah. That's Krishna.
Just on that point, well, we're all trying to become Vaishnavas, so asking for forgiveness if you've offended somebody is very humbling. It's humbling. So if you're genuinely trying to progress spiritually, then yeah, we have to humbly beg for forgiveness. And yes, the Lord, yes, you may, pray and, approach the Lord with that attitude, but you're genuinely going to feel humbled once you actually approach the Vaishnava, the devotee. It's only.
Yeah.
So the question would rather be, am I genuinely trying to progress spiritually or not? Am I just trying to make myself feel better?
With the apology.
With the apology. So, yes, humble yourself and go beg for forgiveness, and then see how. Not see how. Obviously, that's what Chaitanya Mahaprabhu wanted. His Vaishnavas behaving with each other in humility only. That's like the whole Shikshashtakam is about humility. So much of it. Don't want false. What is it called? When you're praising people, I don't want that. I don't want.
The thing is that there's two aspects to it. Is one is we have to do what we're meant to be doing, and the second, when we've actually got to the stage of actually doing it, then we can worry about, are we doing it properly? How are we doing it? Are we, but the first stage is just to do it, So it's like Prabhupada said to Gargamuni Prabhu, just bow down and you'll feel it eventually. And he was saying, well, I don't know if I should bow down. So we shouldn't analyze things too much that, oh, maybe I'm just doing it because, I'm not saying you're saying that, but just to tease out the point. But we shouldn't think, oh, should I apologize? Maybe I'm just trying to make myself feel better, or I don't know, whatever. That's a consideration after we've done it, or after we decide to do it. Because if we've offended a devotee, the only way is to go and ask, please. And it's actually easy. It's way easier than not apologizing. Like, in the beginning, we think, oh, it's so hard. But when you realize it, oh my God, I did this thing like 20 years ago. I can go and apologize. Wow, that feels really good. And the other person's like, wow, it's so easy actually. And to not apologize and to hold it and no, I can't say it, that's really hard. That's really hard. So the way we do it and how sincere and everything, and we can try, if we apologize and we think, I was just trying to make myself feel better, we just go back and try again. Apologize again. Look, I came and apologized for this last week, but I actually think I wasn't sincere. Like I didn't, the real thing I wanted to say was that this was my impurity, and there wasn't any reason, there was nothing you did. And I sincerely apologize, and I really hope that you don't feel hurt, you don't resent it, and you can literally say, because I want to progress in my spiritual life. And I think if we keep that, there's a verse in Bhagavatam that says, Anta Narayana Smriti, that the goal of life is to be able to remember Narayan at the end of life. And if we live our life in the way that we can remember God, in other words, thinking that I could leave my body at any time, do I want to leave my body now with resenting this guy, resenting that guy, with having bad feeling toward them, with having offended them, with feeling, do we want to be leaving our body trying to chant Hare Krishna purely, and then all of these emotional things come in? No, we don't. We don't want that. But we can live our life thinking in that way that, what if I was about to leave my body, how would I feel? I wouldn't be hanging on to this. No way. So go and see that person. Look, this happened. And you can literally say, I don't want this to, I want for my own spiritual life. Yes, it's selfish in that sense. But selfishness for your own spiritual life is not selfishness, because it's actually good for everyone. If everyone in the world made their consciousness pure, this place would be a Vaikuntha. So purifying your consciousness, advancing spiritual life, that's not selfish. And we can actually say that. But the important thing is to do it, to actually do that, those things that we know we have to do, pay obeisances, apologize if we've offended someone. And then we can work on how we're doing it in a better way. All right. Thank you very much. All glory to Srila Prabhupada. Have a great day.